Oh boy, it looks like Valheim's next update, Ashlands, is maybe on its way, as there's another walk and talk with the developers going over some of the features to expect. And I'm saying this because the last one was only a few weeks ago, so things are definitely starting to ramp up if they're revealing more and more. So yeah, could we see it in the next couple months? We know it's meant to be here before the end of June. That's the first half of the year. That's when I said it would be out. So I reckon it might end up coming sooner rather than later. And shotguns are coming to Valheim, confirmed by the devs themselves in this fireside talk. So as usual, I'm going to go over my opinion about the clips of gameplay we're seeing, and then I'm going to play out the whole dev interview for you to enjoy. Let's go. So if you haven't seen the first two of these, absolutely go and check them out, or my little mini reviews of them. And I'm really, again, pleased to see this. They're just talking openly about what's going to happen with Ashlands. Since they've spent a long time making sure it's right, I think it's great that they can talk to us and show us sneak peeks. And today, definitely the focus is on weapons and armor. We've seen a lot of concepts for it, and we're finally getting a proper look at the socket system. You'll be able to have elemental type weapons now and be able to really tailor and choose your playstyle even more. So these were the concepts they showed off a good while ago, and it was pretty obvious that it would be some sort of gem system. Well, that's been revealed properly now. We're going to find these three types of gems while playing. I kind of hope that we build upon them or find them as we keep exploring. Like, we've got rubies in the game already, and the other two would be cool if we find them in different biomes. So by the time you get to Ashlands, you can then equip these on your metal weapons. It does look like you'll only be able to really customize the weapons onto the metal stuff, nothing earlier. The Valheim devs spoke a lot about the different armors and trying to make sure that side armors, in their eyes or opinions, are no longer side armors anymore. They distinctly fit in with a playstyle. So we are going to get a heavy style, we're going to get a ranged armor set, and we are going to get a mage set. And it seems like there is going to be more of a focus on making sure that mage gear especially can hold its own against some of the others. And yeah, not sure how it's going to happen, but the devs literally say they've got a weapon that is like a shotgun, in spirit at least anyway. So no, firearms are not coming to Valheim, but certainly something is going to be doing a lot of damage and maybe with a bit of spread. I wouldn't mind if they decided to go a little bit more steampunky in with the game, as it's meant to cover the full 9 realms, right? Anytime, any place. But yeah, I don't think we're actually going to get a proper shotgun. I did speak also about Mistlands and how they've applied the same principles to try and make sure that the Ashlands is as good as the Black Forest, as they consider that the perfect biome that they really were happy with. They've alluded that the Ashlands won't be as misty or foggy as Mistlands, and that maybe there might be some room to maybe help with the Mistlands being a bit too misty in the future, maybe. Then also get a tiny little tease of like a half millisecond frame of what the boss may look like based on the stone here. It's either a giant flaming squid or he's got a lot of flames in his hair. Now I don't think this is the final boss, obviously. I'm not sure they're going to be revealing or spoiling that on Twitter, but definitely looks like it's either our character or maybe a mini boss that we'll have to face off against, or just a heavy version, but it looks pretty cool. This was shown off on their Twitter, so I'm excited to see what this will actually end up being in the full Ashlands update. But devs do talk about these augments for these weapons, basically not tying you down to one playstyle. Everyone thinks of the fire and maybe fighting it with ice or water, but obviously maybe not the case. They want to kind of subvert them expectations. So fire creatures might have a little bit more weakness against ice, but not as much, and it's not going to limit you as getting into Ashlands and only having to use ice weapons. The Ashlands, of course, is home to a lot of undead creatures too. And yet, of course, there's going to be dual wielding axes as well as short swords. They've said that this is going to be the biggest update yet in terms of how many weapons they're adding at one time. And spent a long time tuning it, making sure it's just the right balance. They've jumped in recently and found it too easy. They tuned it up and then found it too hard. So it's an ongoing process in getting that balance right. But they've definitely learned lessons from maybe Mistlands. So really excited. I think this all sounds good. The Ashlands update does look a lot maybe nicer to traverse and get around. Of course, we don't know what kind of dangers will be there with the lava and maybe the falling meteorites. Although they look pretty small in the background. Is there going to be a cataclysmic event that changes the landscape? There's still a lot we don't know, and how it ties in with the siege machines and stuff like that. But I'm ready. My mind is ready. My body's ready. Give me Ashlands now. The elemental swords look great. I can't wait to mess around with storm, blood and fire. There was a small, obviously, devlog that came with some extra pictures as well, including what this strange bone piece is. It's actually something you can make a reef out of, and here's what it looked like in the Ashlands. What killed this creature? So lots more still to come, obviously. Enjoy the rest of the devs talking about it. Until next time, ratbags, laters.
Like last time, I'm Josephine, and with me I have Robin.
Hello, I'm Robin.
And Jonathan.
Hello.
And before we begin, let me just remind you to check out episode 1 and 2 first, if you haven't already. But assuming you've already watched them, let's dive into today's topics. I want to start off with weapons. We've hinted at some weapons for the Ashlands already, so can we just talk about the item progression for the biome?
Yeah, sure. We have items that progress in the biome. Ha.
Wow.
Yeah.
Next topic.
Next, please. No, I think it's gonna look very much like how Mistlands was. You will come to Ashlands. Hopefully you'll find the resource you need. You'll get it, and you will get some starter equipment. And then as you progress through the whole biome, you will get some much needed special gear, or not gear, but weapons mostly. Do you have any favorites, Jonathan?
Yes, I like. I don't know if we're getting into that, but like the special things with the items I like, and I liked our discussions about the blood ones.
Yeah, because what we have shown, to just recap for everyone, is we have shown some basic versions of a two-handed sword, a one-handed sword, a mace, and some dual-wielding axes. And then we also showed off a lightning version of one of the swords, so you'll be able to customize a bit.
Yes, exactly. So
yeah,
this is an idea I've had for a while, just for players to be able to customize for their playstyle a little bit, or what they think is actually cool, and lean into the fantasy of different aspects, I guess. So the idea was that you can get these gems, 3 different colors of gems, and you could use your old weapon. This only works for flame metal, by the way. And when you get...
Flame metal's a special metal.
Very, very special. Very special little metal. No, but so you combine the weapon that you just made with one of the new gems that you find, and you get to make either a blood weapon, a storm weapon, or a nature weapon, which have some different abilities. Not abilities, but effects. Yeah.
And yeah, to answer the question as well, I have to say that the dual axes with the blood is my absolute favorite, and I think they are a killing machine.
Yeah, I tend to play with that a lot as well, because
I've always been a fan of axes. I know axes have kind of a bad rap in the game, like maybe, I don't know, for some reason, but I always like playing with axes because you can just take trees whenever you want. And now they're also awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm a happy guy.
And it's also going to be built upon the same skill as the axe skill has already been, right? It's not going to be a brand new dual wielding axes skill.
It's on the axes, yes, exactly. So you don't have to, if you did like axes before, okay, so axes overall in Valheim is a little bit boring because they are a tool at the same time they're a weapon, so they're not the best weapon in the game mostly. But going into two-handed axes or dual wielding axes, they feel really, really nice. But then again, we do have the two-handed sword. We have spears, we have a lot of weapons. I think this is the biome with most weapons so far.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean for sure, because especially because of the gem like specialization, it's really turning into a lot of a lot of weapons. So there's a lot of fun things to play with, and I think it's really nice as well that if you have a certain weapon type that is your favorite, like previously it was basically just one weapon that you were going to have, and now you can actually make a choice within that weapon type as well. So I think hopefully it's something that people will enjoy.
Yeah.
Indeed. And speaking of choices, in the Mistlands we also introduced the possibility to play as a mage. How does the mage side grade, as we call it, how does that feature into the Ashlands and into the rest of the game?
Very interesting question, Josephine. Well, let me tell you. Okay, so I think mages or wizards or warlock, whatever you call it, I think it's not a side grade, in my opinion. It's more a playstyle, so we have to accommodate for that playstyle. And with that said, we also are introducing, or not introducing, but we used to say side grades about a lot of the armors and so on. It wasn't the main progression armor that you needed. Coming into Ashlands, you will be able to play as a, so you get armor for either your little ranged guy, girl, or the heavy armor or a mage armor, basically. Hopefully they will go hand in hand with each other when you play several people together, and you'll have a good time, or have a horrible time trying.
And I think we have...
sorry.
Yeah, sorry, maybe I interrupt. I just want to say, and we have a number of nice, like, I'd say, I don't know, yeah, like my favorite in that regard is definitely the, can we call it the shotgun?
We can affectionately call it the shotgun, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a number of really nice magic choices to make as well.
But that was a journey too, right? Because I remember the very first time I play tested, like going into the Ashlands. I had a mage character and I tried to use an ice staff on fire enemies, and it didn't work.
Yeah, but I think that was that's not the.
That was very early.
Yeah.
That was very early.
Yep, and we can't actually blame the staff for that. I think. I think it's on the enemy's side that they were.
I'm just a bad player.
No. It's actually, I think it was on the the enemy's side. I mean, that they were like immune or something. I guess, or is that correct, Jonathan? Or was
yeah, I think it was just that they were for some reason, like that is one of the interesting things with Ashlands has been that, like, kind of what do you say, challenging our design on, okay, we just gave everybody fire weapons, and now they're going into fire territory. Is everybody immune to fire? Like, are fire creatures or are Ashlands creatures immune to cold, or are they susceptible to cold? Or, like, that has been like going a bit forwards and back quite a bit, and I think we've landed in something that works quite well now, but it hasn't been really clear cut, or what is it?
And yeah, exactly. It's been difficult because since you get a fire and an ice weapon, you get both parts of the spectrum going into a place which is like fire. I think that when we have the undead vibe going on, it's more. I think it's more general now. That it's more. I think it's better that way, because before. Okay, so if you go back and we made like the lava lands or whatever, then you kind of expect the ice staff to be king, right? But in this case, I think people will have a good time and die and have a good time.
Yeah, exactly, and not just do like a lot of games are, where like, oh, fire creatures are immune to fire, and they're like you take extra damage from ice. It's more that, oh, both playstyles will work.
Exactly. We have so many discussions about this. Like, so in my mind, it's like, if you're a hot fire demon, then
looking for a single hot fire.
Exactly. Then in my opinion, then if you're shooting like snow on me, then it melts. I'm not getting any damage. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, they should be maybe allergic to cold at least.
Exactly. It should either kind of be the one or the other, but it's not really sure which one it is.
Yeah.
So I think it's one of those game kind of tropes that have existed forever, and yeah. But yeah, I think it works quite well. Like you said, with the undead, it becomes much more clear. But it's important that both of them work. Like, it would be really weird if we gave like, oh, there's ice and fire magic now, but yeah, the next place you're gonna go is one of them is useless. So have fun.
I wanted to round off these discussions that we've been having with just looking back a little bit on the Mistlands and the Ashlands. What do you feel have been the biggest differences between working on these two biomes?
Well, Jonathan, do tell.
Well, a lot of differences. Like, I don't know where.
Or similarities, if that's easier.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know where to start, actually. Like, there's been a lot of differences.
I think.
Yeah, go ahead, Robin. I think you have
this. Sorry. Yeah. This is Valheim, and so you can expect the normal Valheim things in a biome. You come in to Mistlands, and okay, so one big difference certainly is that there is no mist. Yeah, sure, it's going to be a bit misty and foggy sometimes of all the smoke and everything, but we're not going to lock you in visibility like we did in Mistlands. So that's a big difference, I guess. We have heard a lot of feedback from players about the mist specifically. Maybe that's something we will do something with in the future, try to ease that in or out somehow. But the similarities with Mistlands, I think, is a lot very similar with the Black Forest, because we did go through like what would Black Forest do in Mistlands, and that's what we did here as well.
Yeah. But I think like work-wise and like what you can expect, I mean, it's definitely turning into a very well worked biome. Like, actually, I had a dream about that. Maybe it's a bad sign. I dreamt about Ashlands the other night, and I was like, yeah, it's actually pretty cool now. And realizing that, and that we put a lot of work into it, and that it's still going to be like very difficult. I think, like if you compare it to Mistlands Land, it's a very difficult biome, but it's difficult in maybe another way. Like Mistlands can be a bit frustrating with the verticality and all the mist, and some players didn't appreciate that. So it's definitely not going to be the same, but of course there's a lot of similarities in other ways.
I was playing with Andreas yesterday, doing some balance and tweaks and stuff, and I think it's always going to be situational. We went in and played yesterday and was like, this is too easy. So we started to overtune some creatures, and then we jumped back in. It was like, this is too difficult. What's going on? And it's always going to be...
Sorry. And then today, when you were off and I was talking to him, he's like, this mob is cheating. What is he doing? What is he doing against me? And that's when he called you in. He's like, yeah, look at this mob. What is he doing? Something's wrong. And he was just like, and even Andreas is like, this is too hard. This is gonna be too hard. Then it's like, okay, if even he says that, yeah, then maybe we have to tone it down a notch after that, I think.
Yeah, we have some. Yep, I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised with Ashlands, and I hope it's going to be a stepping stone for people to understand, like, this is endgame Valheim. For some people it's not going to be super difficult, and for some people it's going to be the most difficult thing in the world. The good thing is that we have modifiers, and so we can actually go in and change how difficult the game is, but we're trying to create a baseline for how we think it should be. At least we've only got the Deep North left now, and then we're finally out of or when Ashlands is out, then we have Deep North left, and then we're soon on our way to 1.0 and out of early access. Finally.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
But that is a tale for another time. And this episode is also going to mark the end of this little series. So I want to thank everyone for listening, and I want to thank both of you for joining me and for chatting about the Ashlands.
Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. It's been awesome. Hopefully you like Ashlands, and I hope you like today.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening to our ramblings about how we feel. Kind of nothing, but hopefully it's been a little bit interesting.